Hey, Kilted Warrior here. Hope you're having a great day. Remember to subscribe if you enjoy the video and feel free to leave a comment. This video will be a non-spoiler overview of some of the key things you should know before getting into Baldurs Gate 3. It will lay the groundwork for the story and allow you to jump straight into its expansive world, knowing your Mindflayers from your Gith, your Dead-Free from your Jergal, and your Selune from your Shar. I hope you enjoy the video, and with that, let us begin. Mindflayers and the Gith. If you've ever taken a look at any of the PR for Baldurs Gate 3 since its original announcement, then you will know about the curious squid-like humanoids. These lovely looking cousins of Futurama's Zoidberg are known as Mindflayers. Yet who are they and what are they? Well, the Mindflayers are a curious race with powerful psionic abilities and whose origins are unclear, with scholarly claims including that they are an advanced time-travelling race who have witnessed the universe's possible end. Others claim that they are a mutation of humans at some point, with many other equally strange but no less interesting claims existing. The origins, however, may not be as important as how their society is structured. For our purposes, it is key to understand that though each individual Mindflayer can act independently and has their own goals, in the end it is the elder brain of each colony that is crucial, with a colony being the key organizational unit of their society. The Elder Brain is above all Mindflayers. They are of immense intellect, can connect and control all the Mindflayers in their colony to a degree. They effectively function as a hive mind of sorts, and in the end seek to absorb those Mindflayers into their being when they reach the end of their lives. Of course, unknown to the ambitious Mindflayers is that who they are as an individual is eradicated by the transition, and only their knowledge acquired is maintained. So keep this in mind, the idea that every colony must have an elder brain, including those who kidnapped us at the start of Baldurs Gate 3. With that, the next important idea regarding the Mindflayers is how they normally reproduce. That being, a tadpole is inserted into a host, and the process...
Are you aware that after a period of excruciating gestation, it'll turn us into Mindflayers? A process known as ceremorphosis? It is to be avoided. Day 1, fever and memory loss. Day 2, hallucinations and greying skin. Day 3, hair loss and blood leaking from all orifices. Need to go on?
Keep this horrid process in mind when you play, as at the beginning your protagonist and all of the Origins characters have already had a tadpole inserted into them. The question is, are you going to become a Mindflayer, or is there something different about our predicament? Yet that is the Mindflayers. What of the Gith?
Were I not merciful, I would slice the skin clean from your meat. Yet you are not bleeding. For I am nothing if not merciful.
What should you know about them? Well, long story short for the basics of the Gith, they were once slaves of the Mindflayer Empire, a dimension-spanning empire. These once slaves developed some psionic abilities of their own and eventually broke free of their masters. However, they themselves would split into two core groups, with the Githyanki and the Githzerai. The former are the more evil dimension-hopping raiders that Lae'zel, the Gith companion seen in the trailers, is from, and the latter being a less hostile but by no means lesser warrior group. Simply put, the Githyanki tend to be of evil alignment, and the Githzerai are a more neutral group in their views. What you need to know is the Githyanki tend to be a rare sight in the likes of Faerun, the place in which the game is set. For them to be pursuing a Mindflayer ship is one thing, but for them to recklessly pursue it through Avernus and over Baldurs Gate is unusual still, and implies they are seeking something more, as in the past they have been known to go to extraordinary lengths to retrieve items and artifacts that they believed belonged to their queen or their society, that is in the case of the Githyanki. With that said, note that when dealing with Mindflayers though, these brutal, unforgiving people have been known to make seemingly impossible alliances with their usual foes, with even Githyanki putting aside their hatred of their kin. Keep this in mind as you play, as the Githyanki's shifting alliances of convenience might play a role. The Dead Free and Jergal. Even as you first load up this game, the first quote of the first loading screen is, "The Dead Free, Baal, Bane and Merkel were all once mortal men, but ascended to godhood in a strange bargain with Jergal, the original god of death, murder and strife." Therefore, without even going into the story's intro, you know that the Dead Free and Jergal are likely to play a role in some form in Baldurs Gate 3. But who are the Dead Free? Well, they are the free individuals that, as the quote notes, made a deal with Jergal, he who was once the lord of the end of everything, effectively death in all its forms. But he gave his power to the beings that would then become known as the Free and eventually the Dead Free. The first, and usually considered the strongest of the Free, is Bane. Bane was given Jergal's aspect related to tyranny, power, oppressive rule, bringing an end to hope, in a word, strife. He is effectively a D&D equivalent to Sauron, with an obsession with trying to dominate and control all things. Where there is power, tyranny and oppression, such as a great city, then you are almost certain to find Bane's influence. The second of the Free is Merkel, who became the Lord of the Dead for a time, but since then tends to be the Reaper or Lord of Bones. He is associated with, naturally, death, plagues, disease and decay. He tends to work closely with Bane on schemes to overthrow or undermine their enemies, usually ending in failure. Note that he has many worshippers among necromancers, undead, and those who relish in undermining Kelemvor's and Jergal's roles in maintaining the order of life and death. The third and most well-known of the Free is Baal, largely due to his role in the first two Baldur's Gate games. He is the Lord of Murder and Blood, the dark desire in all of us to kill for any reason, to murder. It should be noted that he is responsible for the Baal spawn, of whom the protagonist of Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 was one of them. It remains to be seen if this will matter in Game 3, as Baal's return following those games is canon, as all the Baal spawn were supposedly killed. And remember, this was over a century before Baldur's Gate 3's start. Yet, what of Jergal? Well, Jergal may have given away most of his power, but he remained the scribe of the dead. That is, he is a lesser god who keeps account of all births, lives, and deaths in existence, supposedly. He now serves Kelemvor, who, once immortal himself, was able to ascend and take much of the power and duties once held by Jergal and the Dead Free after him. The Dead Free are known as the Dead Free because they died during the time of troubles at the hands of Cyric, the god of strife in the case of Baal. Then you have Torm, the god of duty, who killed Bane, and Mirko was killed by a mage that would become Mystra, the mother of all magic. With each of them dying, part of their power, their portfolios, passed to Kelemvor. Yet they would all eventually return, but as weaker versions of what they had once been. They were effectively quasi-deities at this point. And that then brings us to Baldurs Gate 3. The question is, what role will they play? Given the official trailer footage already alluding to 3 possible villainous figures, you may wish to keep in mind the Dead Free and the role they might play still. Just keep in mind the crucial aspects of the Free, those being death, Mirko, tyranny and strife, Bane, and murder and bloodshed, Baal.
Blessed Night Singer, witness our adoration. See how we serve you, only you. We have emptied our hearts of falsehoods. We have vanquished your foes. In the darkness, we see your truth. Embrace us, your loyal warriors. Cloak us in your shadow. Guide us to your victory. Shar's will shall be done, as sure as night will fall.
Selune and Shar. The last thing that you should be aware of going into Baldurs Gate 3 is the conflict between Selune and her sister goddess Shar. What you need to know is that they despise each other, and their followers are constantly trying to thwart each other. Their conflict is eternal. One the darkness and secrets, the other moonlight and wisdom. For our purposes, note that one of the first companions that you meet is a self-proclaimed Shar worshipper, that being Shadowheart. And also note that we start the game in a region seemingly once dominated by Selune's worshippers, and features a once great temple of hers. It is important to remember that Shar is associated with darkness, shadows, secrets, and has been known not only to fight her sister, but also another goddess in that of Mystra, the mother of all magic, who tends to be allied or at least friendly with Selune and, you guessed it, Kelemvor. With Kelemvor and Mystra, who was once known as Midnight, in their mortal lives were actually lovers. It also just so happens that Mystra is worshipped by another early companion in that of Gale. So keep an eye on him and Shadowheart and ask them questions if you want to know about their patrons. You never know what might be revealed. Needless to say, there would appear to be a fair number of coincidences involving these 3 goddesses. They may still yet play a role in Baldurs Gate 3, so keep them in mind as you play. Conclusion. Pieces falling into place. So what are the key things to remember? So the Mindflayers and the Gith from the onset are set up as key players in what is happening. Second, the game also draws attention to a loading screen quote about the Dead Free and their connection to Jergal, and by extension Kelemvor. And thirdly, we have a companion that worships Shar and another Mystra, and we find ourselves in a place once riddled with a history of Selune worship. Altogether, we are in the eye of a hurricane, involving powerful factions, deities, and the potential kingmaker, so to speak, that could define the course of these opposing groups. The question is, are you an agent of your own destiny, or is someone else or something pulling at your strings? Are any of those players behind your predicament? That said, I will leave it at that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this overview of some of the key groups and concepts that will likely play a role in Baldurs Gate 3's story. Make sure to subscribe if you want more videos covering Baldur's Gate 3, and also feel free to give me your thoughts on Baldur's Gate 3, what you expect, and what aspects of the game interest you the most. Otherwise, please have a great day and thanks for watching.